Okay, are we live?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Sorry, everybody. We're having some technical challenges here. So I am actually going to introduce this process and the whole thing because Molly cannot, her mic is not working. So that's just the way things go, right? So first of all, my name is Scott R. Wells. I'm the founder and CEO of Conversion Formula, and we're going to talk about digital marketing today. Obviously, I wanted to start off with just saying, I certainly hope everyone is doing well. I hope your residents and your communities are doing well. This is an absolutely crazy and unprecedented time, and really puts the senior living industry as a whole in a lot of flux. And it's kind of one of those things where, do you want to think about marketing right now? And I'm an eternal optimist and think this is not going to last too much longer. But either way, this is going to end at some point, and that is why I firmly believe that marketing should be at the forefront of everyone's minds right now. And how do you take an unprecedented time like this and leverage it to learn, leverage it to improve, leverage it to grow and expand? And that's exactly really what we're going to talk about today. And I've got a special thing that I'm just launching at the end of this presentation, so hang tight. If you have questions, please throw them in the chat. Molly's not going to be able to stop me in the middle of my presentation here to let me know about them, but I will go to them at the end of the presentation. So if you have questions, please throw them in the chat and let's get rolling here, okay? So it's now or never. Let me see this real quick. I need to move this. Sorry, I'm usually on Zoom, so GoToWebinar is a new one for me right now. We're gonna move that over there. There we go. Okay, so it's now or never with marketing your community. So I always like to start off my presentations with this quote. And really, this quote says, if you do not have a predictable and profitable way of generating leads on demand, then you do not have a business, you have a hustling hobby. Now, this was a quote that was said to me 2 times by 2 of my best mentors, Ryan Dice, the CEO of digitalmarketer.com, and Garrett J. White from Warrior. And it really it had a huge impact on me because my business was doing extremely well, but I was not generating leads. I was relying on referrals. And so let's dive into that quote just a little bit more. Predictable and profitable. So predictable is obviously you understand your data. You understand the predictability of how many leads you're going to get in a given month. Profitable means that you're doing it at a profitability rate, where if you're putting $1 in, you get $1.50 out. You're putting $2 in, you're getting $3 out. That's extremely important as you move forward in this process of creating a system of generating leads on demand, is predictability and profitability. So leads on demand, what does that mean? It means, well, if you have occupancy and if you have occupancy issues, then you want to ramp up your lead generation flow. It's like a faucet. You can turn it on or you can turn it off. And so having a system where you have leads on demand when you know you're going to need them. Okay, now you got a system that really can help you grow and turn your hustling hobby into a business. And really, what is the difference between a business and a hustling hobby? Well, a lot of it's control. It's how do you get to choose who becomes a resident and who doesn't become a resident? When you're relying on other people to generate leads for you or give you referrals, you're releasing a lot of the control that comes with running your community. And sometimes that can lead into huge challenges in terms of behavior issues, in terms of a lot of people moving out or passing away at a certain time, and that's just a reality of the business that you're in. So it's important that you can have that control. And when you have leads on demand, now you control who comes into the community and who doesn't come into the community. So my name again is Scott R. Wells. I'm, Conversion Formula, we focus specifically in the senior living space. We work home care, residential assisted living, big box senior living, independent living through memory care. So this is where we work. This is the only industry that my company Conversion Formula works in. And so all of the tactics and strategies and different things that we're going to talk about today are specifically for the senior living space. So today we're going to talk about how to win at the game of sales and marketing. And before we do that, you have to understand the challenges. And so the challenge really is most people are overwhelmed with marketing. And this creates massive communication problems. And when you lack powerful marketing and communication strategies, then that leads to other issues. And if you can't create the mind map inside of your own brain of the sequence of how someone needs to go from one piece of the puzzle to the next, that's where occupancy issues really come in. And this is really what marketing is. It's seamlessly and subtly moving prospective residents and their family members from one stage of the value journey to the next. And that's all that marketing really is about. And so the challenge really started with old school marketing. So let's look at that. We look at marketing really from a lens of broadcasting. And this was born into an area of mass marketing. And this is how we've been taught to market. And this is how a lot of the senior living industry still markets. They focus on a general audience. And when you have a general audience, now your communication strategy is general and you become extremely ignorable. And this made sense when the mediums were radio, newspapers, magazines. It all made sense. The content was published through those channels, then they insert an ad kind of interrupting you, and then you could decide whether you engage with it or not, but there wasn't real data, and you didn't really know exactly who you were communicating with. And so that creates challenges. Now, this all changed with the internet. This changed with the information age. So when the internet came around, now these traditional mediums became less effective, right? But marketers continued to broadcast, and people in the senior living industry especially continued to market in a old general fashion, more community-centric marketing, where they're talking specifically about themselves versus talking to the residents specifically. Resident-centric marketing, where they understand the pain, the challenges, the desires, the dreams that those people have or their family members have. And so even though the mediums changed, the methodology hadn't changed. And so this creates a lot of problems because nowadays the competition is extremely severe. So we all understand that the boomers are coming and the age wave is coming. Well, that's great that there's a lot of potential residents and there's a massive need, but occupancy levels are still going down. And so why is that happening? Well, there's also a capacity that's going up, an inventory that is continuing to increase. So now you're looking at not only the competition that is coming into play, and this is obviously being, RALNA Academy is certainly, prevalent in this space of seeing how many new people are coming into this market. So now the inventory is increasing, the communication strategies are less than effective, and then you also have these behemoths, a place for mom, caring.com, that you're having to compete with to try and gather attention. And that's really what marketing is all about today in today's internet age. It's, Gary Vaynerchuk calls it day trading for attention. You're trying to get someone's attention so that now you can actually have a conversation with them digitally or potentially over the phone or something like that. But it's also opened up this opportunity because most people are not marketing properly. Most people in the senior living space simply are just marketing with old, ineffective strategies. And so it requires you to have a new way of thinking, moving away from general messages and becoming niched in who you communicate with, understanding deeply what their challenges are, what their pain points are, and communicating to them in a resident-centric way, not talking about your community really at all, because no one, to be honest, no one cares yet. No one cares about your community yet. They want to know that you understand them. They want to know that you understand what they're going through. They want empathy. They want to understand, and that's how they want to be marketed to. They want to understand that you know what's going on with the conversations inside their head. And so if you can do that, now you can market to less people, but it's a lot more effective. And now you get people who lean in with desire. You get people who say, thank you. Thank you for letting me move in. Thank you for letting me come and engage with you. Thank you for letting me lean in with desire, and thank you for letting me move at my own pace through this process. Okay, so there's a lot of opportunities here, but first we have to talk about the problems, okay? Okay, so problem number one is you have no operating system for your digital marketing. So really what that means is you have not mind mapped out the process of someone becoming aware of your community, to engaging with your community, to becoming a lead, then the entire process of them moving through the process to then they finally become a promoter up here. And really what this is about, a lot of people consider this that they're talking more B2C. Well, really what we're doing is we're talking human to human. These are human relationships that we're having. And so although we are marketing B2C, we really have to understand how human relationships take form and how to, that's really what marketing is all about, as well as understanding those human relationships. And so how do human relationships actually take form? Well, Desmond Morris wrote a book called Intimate Behavior, and he wrote a book about, he wanted to understand how humans interact with each other and how they create relationships. And so he went through this entire process, the 12 stages of intimacy. I doubt any of you have read this book, but I haven't either, but I know the point of it. 12 stages of intimacy, eye to body, eye to eye, voice to voice, hand to hand, and so on and so forth. Now, the fascinating things that he found, the fascinating aspects of this book and of his study were, it did not matter the time that it took to move through these steps. So you could move through these steps very quickly. This happens all the time, right? You meet someone, you go through the process pretty quickly. And so not always going to step 12, but you know what I'm saying. Now, what he did find was that to create a human relationship, you had to go through these steps. If you skipped a step, your relationship was damaged. If you skipped 2 steps, it was considered assault. Now, in marketing, we have 8 steps. The challenge is most people are essentially assaulting their prospective residents and visitors when they come to their website because they have not mind mapped this out, because they don't put in the effort to understand the engagement process, to understand how to convert someone into a lead properly. They're asking too quickly to, it's like asking someone to marry you on the first date. You're asking them to schedule a tour without providing any value to them. You're skipping steps in the normal human relationships in a marketing fashion, and that essentially, it commoditizes you and it violates the normal human relationships and it damages the relationship. And when you do not have a productive operating system, this is essentially what your marketing looks like. Now, when your marketing looks like this, how many people really want to follow you on this path? Not many. Not many are going to stick with you down this path. And this is why, if you have a website and you are not generating leads, this is probably why. This is one of the reasons why. Okay, so problem number 2. Without having an operating system, now you get overwhelmed by technology and tactics, and this is totally understandable. Look at the technology landscape. I work in this space and it is completely overwhelming to me as well. It's stunning how many different technologies you have: advertising and promotion, content and experience, social and relationships, so on and so forth. This is how it's evolved since 2011. Now, this was a year ago in 2019, but look at all of this. Look at all of these different technologies that you have to choose from. When you do not have an operating system, you can easily get sucked into the shiny object syndrome with technologies, not to mention with more tactics, okay? Facebook ads, Google ads, search engine optimization, chatbots, live chat, content marketing, social media marketing, local SEO. It changes all of the time. You have to be extremely nimble in this industry. Now, being nimble is one thing, but without an operating system, it's easy to get sucked into what is the new fad with a tactic. And that's really what all of these things are tactics. They're just tactics, that's it. And so if you view them as a tactic, you don't get tied into one thing. You get tied to the overarching theme of an operating system. When you have an operating system, you know which tactics are going to work properly to help you move prospective residents and their family members seamlessly and subtly through that resident value journey. Problem number 3. All of these things start to compound when we get to problem number 3. You don't generate traffic or leads, so you're kind of invisible. A lot of people have this idea that if you build it, they will come. If you build this community, people are going to come. If you build a website, people are going to come. The challenge is that most people wouldn't do a tour if your house looked like this. But many of you allow your website to look like this. And that's the first impression that someone has of your community. Now, sometimes it's not just like this on the outside, but on the inside, and that's what Google's seeing when it's not optimized. And so, but other times we have websites that look just like this, and people wonder why you can't generate leads. This is about understanding what people are looking for, and what this shows you is that someone's not really caring too much about the way that their first impression looks. Hard to be successful when your first impression looks like this. Your listings are inaccurate. So your information out on the World Wide Web is inaccurate. So how is Google going to show your community when someone looks for residential assisted living in Scottsdale or Mesa or Phoenix or Cleveland or wherever everyone is? You have 0 or negative reviews. You're not proactive about getting reviews, and so you either have just negative reviews or you don't have any reviews. Either one is really not going to help you out as you move forward. Subscribe to our newsletter. This is how a lot of people want to convert leads. This is violating the normal human relationships. You haven't exchanged any value. And then if you do get a lead, there's no value, so you're not getting any conversions and you're not going to get any leads. So basically you have a leaky bucket. Now, no lead means no communication. And everyone understands that a good relationship starts with good communication. If you can't communicate with them, unless they're ready to go right now you've totally lost that person. And so now, but a lot of these things start to compound, and if you do happen to get a lead, it's because someone is probably desperate and you're a commodity. And the challenge is that they've probably given their information to every other community around you, not to mention the 800-pound gorillas of a caring.com and a place for mom. And now you're stuck in this spiral of paying referral fees, and never generating leads on your own. What happens if that stops? What happens if you're not generating referral fees or generating leads through referrals? You've totally lost control of that. And all of those things compound to the impact on the rest of your life. Now, we all get into business for different reasons. We all have a purpose for what we're doing and why we're doing it. And a lot of those reasons are very altruistic and extremely valuable. The challenge is being able to maintain that when your business is struggling because you're not generating leads, because you had this idea that you were going to have 1 home and then you're going to expand into 3 and expand into 10, but you're still stuck at 1 because you cannot perform in the marketing and communication arena and you can't generate leads, and so you're stuck in this spiral. This has an impact on the rest of your life, and a lot of people don't want to analyze this. They don't want to understand the impact on the rest of their life when their business is struggling. How does it affect, the stress levels with your body? How does it affect the relationships with your family? And all of that comes back and compounds again on business. And so I strongly encourage you that all of these things could be avoided if you had a marketing and operating system that generated leads on demand, predictably and profitably. All of these things could be avoided. Now, I'm not saying it's easy, but the reality is all of these things could be avoided. And so let's talk about that. Let's talk about what that looks like, the possibilities. So problem number 1 is no operating system for digital marketing. Well, now you've got a predictable sales and marketing operating system. You've mind mapped out the entire resident value journey, so you know each phase of how someone should be moving through the process. Completely understand what's happening in their mind. Empathetically understand how to connect with them on a deep level. Possibility number 2. Problem number 2 is overwhelmed by tactics and technology. Possibility number 2 is you have clarity and confidence because you know if it doesn't fit into the structure of the operating system, then it's not important for you at this time, even if it's really super cool. Even if that software like blows you away, but it doesn't fit into the parameters of your operating system, then it's not a good fit for you. So instead of being a wandering generality, instead of trying to wander through this marketing system, now you become like this dude right here. And you become an absolute sniper where you can communicate properly, demonstrate empathy, move someone seamlessly and subtly through a process where they self-select and they lean in with desire to say, I'm in again, I'm in again. And that is the process that you want to create. Possibility number 3, you do generate traffic and leads. You have a beautiful and optimized website. You are found when someone in your local area especially is looking for exactly what you do. Scottsdale residential assisted living, show up. You do get people talking, you do generate reviews. And if you happen to get a negative review, you communicate with it, you handle it, you mitigate it, you deal with it. When someone does land on your website, because you've done those other things, now you might get some traffic. And when someone does, now you convert visitors into leads because you understand what's going on in their head. You know the conversations that they're having. Now you can provide value, and now you can exchange their contact information for that value, and now you've got permission to market to them because you've provided massive value. All of this is about providing massive value. You didn't need to do that in old school marketing. It was more of a general broadcast message. Now, if you're not providing value, if you're not empathetic and understand what's happening with them, you become ignored. And all of those things lead to an awareness of all of the impact on the rest of your life simply by creating a marketing solution that works for you and your communities and your business. And that's ultimately what we're trying to accomplish here. So how do you actually make this happen? There's 2 pieces to this. They both go hand in hand. I could do them in either order. You have to have the mindsets and the skill sets. Skill sets without the mindsets, not going to work. Mindsets without skill set and action, that's just a dream. So we're going to talk about the principles, the fundamental truth or proposition that serves as the foundation for a system of belief or behavior or for a chain of reasoning. The mindsets and the principles that we're going to talk about are imperative to this process. Marketing is not easy, but it certainly can be simple. Sorry, someone just popped in here. So the first principle that we want to talk about is becoming a marketer. Now, I get it. Everyone here is either, a lot of you guys came from the real estate side, the financial side, or you came from the medical side. This is also, I need you guys to understand this, that you have to have the mindset of becoming a marketer. Yes, you own a residential assisted living community, but you are a marketer. You're marketing to potential residents, you're marketing to employees, you're marketing to caregivers, you're marketing to business partners. You're looking at problems to be solved. What information is needed to help solve that problem? How do you now reach and communicate with your target audience? How do you express that idea to engage with them properly? What's the tactical plan that you're implementing? And then you're looking at the data. How do I assess the metrics? How do I rinse and repeat this process and move it forward? Becoming a marketer is absolutely necessary to move forward in this process. And it's not that you have to actually do it, it's a mindset of becoming a marketer, so you think like a marketer. Principle number 2, and this goes back to old school marketing, stop romanticizing the past. Business is littered with companies that were great at one time that did not change. Now, whatever you think about some of these companies on here, not extremely relevant for this point, but they all are thriving. And the reason is because they evolve. If you're not evolving, you're dying. In a world that's changing really quickly, the only strategy that's guaranteed to fail is not taking risks. Marketing is about expanding where you currently are, because what you're doing today may not work tomorrow. You cannot romanticize the past. Just recently, 2 days ago, I decided to completely stop doing a service because it wasn't producing results, and I pivoted to another service. I'm not tied to a specific service. I'm tied to the results. That's what becoming a marketer is all about. You understand that all of the services, all the tactics, the strategies are just that. If they're not providing the results or providing data, then it's time to move on from them. And so that's why, really considering this is to not romanticize the past. If you were doing something that worked in the past, it doesn't mean it's going to continue to work in the future. Principle number 3, okay, power versus force. If you do not create a marketing system that lets people self-select, move them through the process on their own, that is going to be considered more force, more compulsion. That's when you violate human relationships. That's when you're seen as someone who is, quote unquote, assaulting potential residents. It's seen as manipulation, motivation, and lies. Whereas power is when you are allowing someone to move through at their own speed. You're allowing them to self-select, is when they lean in with desire. And that is seen as capacity, agency, power, persuasion, inspiration, and truth. There is a huge divide between the two here. Now, I'm not saying if you use the force side of this that you can't generate leads and new residents. You can, but it's usually going to be people who are desperate. Whereas the other side of it attracts your ideal target market because they have leaned in with desire. They've self-selected because of the work you've done in setting it up to understand your ideal resident. And how do you attract, how do you communicate, how do you pull them through with them leaning in with desire? Okay, principle number 4, hard, easy, easy, hard. So this is a concept that was introduced to me by a Navy SEAL called Mark Devine, named Mark Devine. He's not called that, but it's hard, easy, easy, hard. Hard choices, easy life. Easy choices, hard life. Listen, hard is coming no matter what. So the easy choices, hard life would really fall into the category of I'm not willing to put in the work. I don't want to lay the foundation for setting up a marketing system. I'm not interested in rolling up my sleeves and actually putting in the work to actually do that. I'm going to rely on other people and let them have control over my business. I'm not saying you can't be successful doing that. It's just a precarious way to run a business. It's a dangerous path. There are a lot of things, that can go wrong with that path. Conversely, if you have control, if you are the one who puts in the work, if you build the foundation, and you understand that marketing is a long-term play, it's an investment. It's not just an expense of time and money. It is an investment into the future of expansion, growing your business, having control over your business, being able to sleep at night, understanding that things are going to be okay because you have a predictable and profitable way of generating leads on demand. And this type of operating system can provide that type of clarity. It can provide that type of confidence. Okay, so those are the 4 principles. Now, how do you actually do this when it comes to the strategies and tactics? Okay, this is the path to getting this done. Now, if I put every single step in here, it'd be probably 50 steps. I'm breaking this down into some chunks here, okay? So path number 1 is you have to mind map out your strategy. You have to spend the time to understand how to create awareness, how to create engagement, how to create a lead capture and a conversion tool that gets inside the conversation that someone is having and provides enough value for them to lean in with desire to say, yes, I'm going to give you my contact information, and yes, I want you to market to me. This is one of the most powerful things you can do. And it is absolutely necessary as you move forward because it sets up the path for everything else. Sets up the path for all the technology, all of the tactics you want to use, everything moving forward. Step number 2, information accuracy. Okay, so I deal with this a lot in the residential assisted living world where a home has changed hands a couple times, maybe once, maybe twice. Phone numbers change. The name of the community changes. The website changes. This is what leads to information inaccuracy. So it's imperative to get all of your information aggregated properly. This is the local search ecosystem. Don't get overwhelmed with this little grid or with this visual here. It's just for you to understand how Google is trying to decide who to show when someone does a local search. Well, they're gathering all this information from all of these different sites and looking at the name of the community, the address, the phone number, and the category of business. So assisted living, some of them are called nursing homes. There's a lot of different categories. Assisted living is typically where people most fall. But what they're doing is looking at, is this information consistent and congruent? And if it is, then that's a plus for you. And now they have more confidence to actually show your community when someone is looking in your specific area. This is a simple thing to do to make sure that your information is accurate. You can actually check your local listings right here, bit.ly/local SEO scan. This will show you your reviews. It'll show you your listings on 60 or 70 different sites. It'll give you at least a baseline. It's not 100% accurate, but it's going to give you a solid baseline so that you can understand how your listings look. Step number 3, and this is a big one. I grouped a lot into here because you need to optimize your website and your Google My Business. Remember that house with a really crappy front yard and zero landscaping? The inside of the house may look beautiful, but what Google is looking at is they're looking at specific things on your website to make sure that it is going to line up with what someone is searching for. Optimizing your website is just a simple process that can be done once, and typically doesn't have to change a whole lot unless you're adding a ton of content. Then you can keep up with it pretty consistently. Google My Business is another simple thing that you can do to make sure that your information is communicated to the search engines properly. Google My Business then ties into a lot of other services that can help you get found and help you create paid media, can help you do a lot of different things. If you're not clear on some of these pieces, you can always contact me afterwards. I can't put every step into this process. Optimize the website and Google My Business. Step number 4, generate reviews. This is also an easy thing. Contact your residents, family members who you know are in a good place and happy with what you're providing, and hopefully, and I didn't say this at the beginning, but this is all predicated on you having a great community. That's just the way it goes. If you have a crappy community, no marketing is going to help you. This is predicated on you guys having a good community. With you guys being involved with RALNA, I tend to think that that's going to be the case anyway. Generate reviews. Proactively ask for reviews. If you have negative reviews, communicate with that person. Talk to them. Respond. It will help even if they don't do anything about it. Just by responding, it shows that you care, and people read these. It's amazing to me the amount of emphasis people put on reviews. Think about your own behavior online. I'm sure you can lean on some of your experience where you relied on some random person who gave someone 1 star and you decided not to go there anymore. Happens all the time. Happens all the time. Generate positive reviews, get people talking, get them communicating, make it simple for them. There's simple steps you can go through to get someone a link, so they just click on a link and then they pop right to the reviews. Step number 5, figure out how to engage and convert your visitors. Not everyone is a good fit for your community. So understanding your ideal resident is imperative. You understand what they like to do. How is your community different? By understanding them, now you can understand how to communicate better with them. And this is all done automatically. Answer their biggest question that they're going to have. Talk to your salespeople, whoever's handling those. If it's you, that information is probably right inside your head. How can we provide value and get someone to exchange their contact information for that value? And now you get permission to market to them, leading to step number 6, which is communicate consistently. Not everyone wants to move in right away. Not everyone is going to make a decision today. Communicate consistently. They may make a decision to move somewhere else, and if you're consistently communicating with them, they may have a bad experience. Guess what? You're top of mind still. This is a simple thing you can do to make sure that you stay in front of people and you increase that conversion rate over time. Because now you're instead of just 1 day, now you can stretch it out over 90 days, where you consistently communicate with them over a set amount of time. It doesn't have to be 90 days, it could be 45 days. You know what your sales cycle is typically like. Communicate consistently. It's a simple thing to do. People love email. Email marketing, people say it's dead. It is absolutely not dead. It works wonders. In everything we're doing, we implement a email marketing communication strategy, and it helps increase the conversion rate 2, 3, 4, 5%. Imagine what that means over the lifetime, and it's not that hard to set up. Once you have all of those things done, and I do mean this, you need to set up all of those things, because most people want to skip directly to step 7. They want to throw in some paid media, they want to run Google ads, they want to run some Facebook ads, they want to do some retargeting, and guess what? Doesn't work. They spend a lot of money, and then they think digital marketing does not work. It works. It's just you're not following the process. If you're running paid media to a website that's not optimized, or a website that doesn't have a conversion tool, you're not going to think paid media works very well. Paid media is expensive. It's very expensive to set up. It's very expensive to get clicks. It's only going to increase. So if you are not diligent about setting up your value journey so you understand how to communicate properly, who you're communicating to, and how to help provide value to them and convert them into a lead, well, now you're just paying for people to click and come to your website and leave. And that's going to be extremely frustrating. Paid media is very expensive. It needs to be treated as something that is done after you have other things set up. It's a wonderful tool. It's a wonderful tool. It will drive so much traffic. It will drive so many conversions for you in terms of phone calls, in terms of form fills, scheduling tours. If you have things set up properly, it will work. If you do not, it will not. Okay. Okay, so lots of steps there. So how can we help you? How can we help you create a resident value journey that works for you? So really, there's 2 different ways that we help you. One is done for you. The other is we help you do it yourself. And that's what that's the thing that I want to talk about. As soon as I'll talk a little bit about the done for you, but the do it yourself is something that I've been asked for time and time again for people who just aren't quite ready for an agency to handle, and they don't have the finances to do it, but they still have the motivation to make sure that their business and their communities are represented digitally in a proper way. So on the done for you side, we create a marketing system for you. Okay, it's plain and simple. We drive traffic, we create a conversion tool, we create an email marketing system, we create content that we run traffic to. All of it is geared towards 3 different types of leads that we drive for you. We increase phone calls, we increase, so we call a smart choices tool, that's our conversion tool. And it's essentially just asking someone what level of care is right for them. They go through a questionnaire. Once they go through the questionnaire, they land on a results page that basically says, hey, based on the way you answer these questions, assisted living would be perfect for you. If they call, great. If they don't, they're dropped into an email sequence, and we communicate with them consistently over time. We also retarget anyone who has gone through this process. Retargeting, for those of you who don't know, is just those ads that follow you around, and you're like, okay, I looked at those pair of shoes, and now they're following me around everywhere on the internet. That's what retargeting is. And so we want to stay top of mind, front and center, through providing value, driving the traffic that is relevant, and we monitor those leads in terms of phone calls, call conversions, total conversions, web conversions, so form fills, smart choices tool. Someone goes through that process. When someone fills out the smart choices tool and engages with that questionnaire, you get all the answers to the questions. I'm not diving that much into this because this is a system where I need to have a conversation with you. We need to make sure that we're both a good fit for each other prior to going down this path. If you want to understand costs, $1,500 a month is probably a good estimate of what you need for something like this that includes your advertising spend. So I understand not everyone is at that level or everyone can afford that. And so that's why we created the Smart Choices Marketing Mastermind. Now, this is something that I'm just launching, and I am extremely proud of this. It is it's not something I'm using to get you to do services. It's something I'm using to help you learn how to market in a deep and relevant way. This is kind of the membership site that you would get access to. We go deep into foundations so you understand exactly who your target market is, what their pain points are, how can you move them from the pain they're in to the pleasure they're seeking. Understanding them moves you directly into the resident value journey. We help you craft a resident value journey that works for you and your community and your business. We also go into strategic persuasion, which is really more about sales and persuasion. And persuasion is something that you will use and leverage in every aspect of your business. Partners, caregivers, employees, family members, residents' family members. You're going to leverage all of these things. Digital marketing technology. We want to make sure that you're guided in the right direction with what technologies to use, what's working now and what's not working now. Ultimately, it's going to be based on your resident value journey, but we still want to dive into the technology side to make sure that we're bringing value to that area to make sure you're using the specific technologies that are working right now. This is done twice a month. It's a bi-monthly Zoom call. You get access to the recordings. You can be there live, or you get access to the recordings in the membership site. Now, there is a benefit to being there live. This hot seat application. Every single call will go through kind of an education process, and then we will have an interactive call. You submit an application, you and I, one-on-one, you pop your camera on, I pop the camera on, in front of everyone, we sit there and we dive into your marketing. We tear it apart, we put it back together. We're gonna dive specifically into your specific challenges, your marketing. Now it'll be based on what we're talking about that day. So it could be websites, it could be paid media, it could be local SEO, it could be a lot of different topics. But this gives you an opportunity to get one-on-one consulting with me or potentially one of my team members. But I'm going to be the one who's running these 95% of the time, unless I just have a conflict I can't get out of. So committing to sales and marketing is, obviously I'm a little biased, right? But, not having a resident value journey, it means you're leaving things a lot up to chance. And so the cost of that could be tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, I don't know. But really the cost of it is not having the life you want and creating the business that you want. And that's the true challenge with not committing to sales and marketing. And so in my humble opinion, one of the most spiritual gifts in life is the ability to communicate properly, market, and sell. And so I want to teach everyone how to do that who is willing to put in the work. The mastermind is not going to be easy. It will require people to put in work. But I'm going to open up the kimono. I'm going to show you everything. I'm not going to hold anything back. And so really there comes down to three different categories of people. One is the category who says, not for me. No sweat. I'm going to do nothing right now. That's okay. You can make that decision too. The done for you. There's a link right here. I'm sure we can put the link in the chat. For this particular service, we need to have a conversation. You and I need to sit down and really dive in to see if we're a good fit for each other. Like I said, it's going to be around $1,500 a month. For those of you who cannot afford that, the Smart Choices Marketing Mastermind is only $147 a month. I do have a coupon code right there, RAL Early Bird, that is only for you guys until May 1, and it drops the price down to $97. And that's not going to expire the coupon's going to expire on May 1. The price does not expire until you decide to drop out, if you decided to drop out. So I encourage you, have a conversation with me if you think the services is right for you. If the services aren't right for you and it's not the right time for your business to have that type of expense in your communities to expend that type of money, then come with me. Let me be your guide in the Smart Choices Marketing Mastermind. I dropped the price down significantly. I mean, price cannot be a concern here. It's only whether you can put in the time and effort and really decide that you want to become a marketer. Now, maybe some of you would say you don't have time for that. That's one decision that you absolutely can make. But I would encourage you to think about, creating that foundation and being able to have something that produces results and bears fruit for years and years and years and years to come. Okay, that's my big pitch. There you go. So thank you very much. Let's, I'm not exactly sure how to open this up for questions. Let me see here. I don't see how to do this. I don't see any questions anyway. Okay, so listen, thank you guys very much. We'll drop the links in there for this, for the mastermind and scheduling a consultation with me. I hope you, obviously I have a service that I'm trying to sell and a mastermind I'm trying to sell, but I certainly hope that you got a tremendous amount of value for understanding, why an operating system is so important for your business, and understanding, how you can get distracted and why you need to set these things up and kind of how to progress through this process. And then the steps that I gave you, those are simple things that you can do that will have a massive impact. And those are specifically a lot of the steps that we'll go through in the mastermind. So thank you very much. And if there aren't any questions, I will just close this out. Molly? There is? Oh. Huh, I can't see the questions. Oh, wait, there we go. Do you, Dave, hold on. What is this? I got breaking up. Huh. Okay. Having trouble with being, yeah. How long is the monthly fee for? Forever, 6 months, a year? Well, for services, it's for as long as you're a client. For the mastermind, it's for as long as you are a member of the mastermind. So with mastermind, that link I sent you is going to send you to a page. It's going to explain a little bit more about it. Really, the mastermind is Zoom calls. It'll be a Facebook support group as well, and the hot seats. And we'll be adding more and more to this. This is something I'm just launching right now. That's why I'm dropping the price significantly. But really, we're gonna have guest speakers. So as long as you're a part of that mastermind, it'll be a monthly fee, as we move forward. But like I said, it drops. $97 is not going to change. It'll stay at that as long as you're involved with the program. Thank you. Many thanks, Scott. Much appreciated with your wealth of knowledge and marketing. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Let's see. Okay. I think that's it, you guys. Hey, reach out to me. If you have questions, if you have challenges with the website, reach out to me. If you have questions about this specific presentation, I know you guys are going to get a copy of this. Reach out to me. Let's have a conversation. I'd love to communicate. I love the RAL community. I presented a couple times for you guys at the national conference, and I have just a great time with communicating with this group. So please reach out to me. I'm happy to answer any questions you have and help in any way possible. So thank you very much, and I appreciate your time.